Okay, second grade, today we are going to be starting a new project, and before we start decorating our picture, we're going to do a little bit of practicing with value. Value is how light or how dark a color is, and for second grade, what we're going to be focusing on is changing the value of a color without changing colors or adding or blending. So for today's purposes, you're just going to be choosing one color at a time, and we're going to be filling out all three boxes. And the first one is going to be light, the second one is going to be medium, and the last one is going to be super dark. So this is just a really great way for you to start learning that you can make multiple values when you only have one color in front of you without having to mix or blend other colors. So for this very first one, when you go into your bag of colored pencils, let's just everybody start off with purple. That way I know that you're watching the video first of all and following all the directions. And I think it's going to be one of the better ones to see color-wise because of how dark it is. If we start with like a yellow or a pink, it's just going to be hard to see the value change because no matter how hard you push, it is going to be really hard to see the value changes. So again, we're going to color each three boxes in completely separately, and we're going to start with the first one, and the first one is going to be super light. So just a few reminders: whenever we're coloring in something or painting in something a solid color and we want a shape defined, we want to make sure that we start off by going around the edges first. So I am coloring so lightly, and the idea behind this is that we want to make it very hard to see. So after you've gone around the four corners, now you've made your box of coloring even easier to stay inside of the lines, because now you have the black line and you have the purple line. Because our cameras are not super great, you might even be saying, well, it doesn't even look like you colored anything, Mr. O, but trust me, it will start showing up as we start applying more pressure. So now that I went around the sides, I want to go ahead and I'm just going to color up and down. Staying inside the lines, and I am barely pushing at all with my colored pencil. But I'm just going back and forth, and every layer of color is going to slowly make a darker and darker value. So I'm holding my colored pencil way far back, because whenever we hold our colored pencil or pencil close, we start applying more pressure. And for this one, we want light. One thing that I like to do is, once I've colored up and down, I want to turn my page so that way I'm going up and down in the opposite direction. And this is a form of cross hatching, and we're layering color on top of color. So as we do this, you are going to see more and more of the purple, and our value is going to become darker. So I'm going to go up and down a few times, and then I'm going to turn it a third time. I'm going to go up and down very lightly. I'm going to go from left to right once, left to right twice, left to right 3 times. So right now I have a very, very light value of purple, and we're just going to climb our scale, and we're going to get darker and darker and darker. So we just got done doing our lightest value of purple. Now we're gonna go ahead and I like to skip the medium right away because there's not a big difference between light and medium or medium and dark. And we're gonna go ahead and make a super dark value. And this is going to be the darkest purple value of just our value scale. So just like we did in our first box, again, I know that we want to go really dark, but we still want to start by doing light pressure. We want to make sure that we are not pushing hard right away. First of all, it's going to hurt your hand. Second of all, it's going to damage your paper, and you're going to start getting rips, and depending on the texture of your paper, you're going to start ruining it to the point where the color will no longer stick. So again, I'm just doing a light value around all four sides before I go ahead and go into the middle. So once you've gone around the sides, now the middle is smaller and should be easier to fill in. So I'm going to do my up and down motion. Again, I'm starting off light because I can always go over it more, and the more I go over it, the darker the value is going to go. So after I've gone over that 3 times, I'm going to turn it. I'm just going to keep my back and forth motion, my up and down motion. And I'm going to do it 3 times. So right now our value between light and dark is pretty similar, so we want to make this darker. Again, without hurting our hands, we're just going to repeat the same thing that we just did. So I am going to push a little bit harder, and I'm going to go around my box, around all 4 sides. This is going to help me stay inside of the shape that I've created. And for this second run through, I am pushing a little harder, but I'm still staying way back on my colored pencil. And I'm not pushing hard enough where the colored pencil is breaking. So if the colored pencil keeps breaking, you're pushing even harder than I am right now. And that's just not necessary, because all you're going to do is you're going to damage the paper and you're going to damage your hand. So I've gone around the border, and we can already tell that it's much darker than my lightest, and it's even darker than the middle from before. So going over it this second time is making my value even darker. So now I'm going to fill in the middle by holding the colored pencil way far back. And I'm just going up and down. That seems like a motion that everybody is used to coloring with. And again, I'm going to go ahead and start at the left and move to the right. I'm going to go 3 times. I'm going to change it and rotate it. And I'm going to do the same thing. There's 1. There's 2. And there's 3. So now we have a really big difference. Our dark purple should be very, very dark, because not only did we go over it multiple times, but the second time around we pushed harder with our hands than our first one. So this is going to make it a lot easier when we finish with the dark one to come in and try to get a purple value that is in between our light and our dark.